Yes, let's do it. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. My name is Andrus. I look after marketing here at Pipedrive. And although I can't individually see you, I'm so glad to see many of you in the chat room and many of you who are registered to this webinar. So this webinar is co-hosted by our good friends at Zapier and Pipedrive. We'll cover lots of things which will help you automate your workflows and actually basically save time. You have myself and my colleague James from Pipedrive on the line, and then Alison, who looks after community at Zapier.
Yeah, hi everyone. Like Andres said, my name is Alison. I take care of our community here at Zapier, and we were hoping to have a couple of our users join us here today. They were going to chat about how they use Pipedrive with Zapier. They have some really cool use cases. Hopefully, maybe we'll find them here in a second. I know that that they were having a little bit of technical difficulty wherever they were. But it also looks like we have James here from Pipedrive. So, hi James, how's it going?
That's good.
Good. Well, since we're missing a couple of folks, Andres, do you want to just maybe chat through the start of what we're going to talk about, and do maybe fill in for Rob and Tom a little bit and chat about the cool use cases that they are doing between Pipedrive and MailChimp with Zapier?
Yes, I can. They would have done it better than I ever can, but let me at least try. So Tracksoft is a customer of both Pipedrive and Zapier, who do software for independent tour operators. And I think we can see Rob and Tom actually on the line now.
Okay, great.
Hey guys.
Hi. So we have two special guests on this webinar. It's Tom, who's Tracksoft Senior Integration Manager, and Rob, who's the VP of Sales over at Tracksoft. So welcome to this webinar. And do you want to start by giving a quick intro on who you are, what you do, and how have you set up the Pipedrive and Zapier connection?
Sure. Thanks for having us, guys. It's great to be here. Yeah. So my name is Rob. I am the VP of Sales for Tracksoft, and Tracksoft is an online booking and payment software solution for tour and activity providers in the travel space. So we provide a booking engine so that customers can so that our customers can allow their guests to go to their website and actually book and pay for various activities around the world. So we work with companies that are mainly small businesses. A lot of them are one or two-person operations that operate in tourism destinations. So it can be anything from a scuba shop, or a guy who runs a skydiving operation, or sometimes larger companies that do walking tours, bus tours, so forth. And so we've been working with Pipedrive for about 2 years now, and mainly we started. Because in reviewing all the various options, I think the one thing that attracted us to Pipedrive in particular was pipeline view and the ability to visualize the various stages in the process where all of our customers are, because our potential audience base, because again we do focus on these smaller mom and pop shops that are the numbers number into close to 1 million potential targets out there, so we have lots and lots and lots of different deals. So it's really helpful for us to be able to have a visual view of who we've contacted, what the outcome has been, if they're moved forward in the process, and we need to very quickly be able to weed out potential customers that are going to work with us from customers that maybe are going to stall and so forth. So Pipeline was an ideal tool for that. And the pricing worked for us as a startup company as well. It allowed us to kind of grow our business along with that. And over the last couple of years, I think we've gotten more and more sophisticated with how we use Pipedrive as we understood it better, as our business evolved, and as our needs have changed. It's been very flexible to be able to allow us to kind of change our different views based on our business model changes here and there. When we went from a fully commission-based model to a subscription model. And it's worked very well for us to be able to optimize that, based on how that changes our revenue projections and so forth. So from there, what we started doing is really eventually Pipedrive has become kind of the central hub of our sales and marketing operations. As we started to really become more dependent upon Pipedrive, we were using various different systems. So let's say MailChimp to send out emails, and we were also using in some cases other different mail services. We were also connecting to different emails that we wanted to send directly from reps through our corporate Gmail and different systems. And we kind of started looking at it to say, how can we, a lot of these things that we're doing manually would be great if we can automate them, if we could have certain actions happen as deals move through the funnel into different stages. So of course, in doing the research, we came across Zapier as a perfect solution for that. Because it really allowed us to automate a lot of the processes that we were doing with different systems manually. And so essentially how we've evolved is to now we have two different pipelines, and Tom will get into kind of the more specific layouts of that in a minute. But the basic structure is we have sort of our lead generation funnel where we're out using different various marketing tools and ways that we're trying to get customers interested in our software. When they've performed specific actions, whether they've opened an email, clicked on an email, or responded to an email, then that triggers actions in Pipedrive or vice versa. Things that we do in Pipedrive trigger the movement, through both using Zapier to move it along in the funnel. Once we get it into, from the lead generation stage, once they've responded, then it goes into sort of a sales funnel where we can say, okay, this is somebody that has reached out to us, and then it moves to a different stage based on, if we've contacted them, and if they're continuing to be interested, if they've gotten a demo, if they subscribe, and then if their account is fully integrated, and then if the system is working and live and fully onto the system. So each one of those is a different stage. So we use Zapier to trigger a variety of different actions based on the actions that the reps are doing in Pipedrive. So what that really what that's allowed us to do is kind of free up time that we were spending doing repetitive tasks that now is taken care of, so the reps can really just focus on what they do, which is our sales team can focus obviously on selling, and our onboarding team can focus on integrating new customers and getting them up and running quicker, and then moving on to the next deal. So that's kind of an overview on how we use Pipedrive and Zapier, and then I don't know, Andres, if you wanted to get into any more specifics of that, but Tom would be the one to kind of tackle that if you do.
Yeah, I would actually be interested, Tom, since we got this kind of awesome overview of the process that you guys go through. Is there specific Zaps that you guys have set up to cover this stuff? I know that we've talked about a big one for y'all is doing sending Pipedrive data to MailChimp. And I know that's a big one for you, but are there any others that are big for you guys that you would want to share with other folks?
Yeah, I think in addition to the MailChimp Zap, which we use to really just segment for different marketing campaigns, another huge benefit that we get would be from using the connection to Gmail. So once a rep, let's say they complete a training call with a client, then once they mark that training call off as complete, it'll appear on the filter. And then the filter will then send an email on their behalf that's personalized to the client, and it's sent from their email address and signed with their name. And it kind of just highlights the important features that they went over on the training call. So that really saves a lot of time when that's something that we're probably doing 5 to 10 times a day.
So if we're looking at Pipedrive to MailChimp specifically, and you guys do you have things set up to send to different lists depending on what stage someone is at? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yep, and so we also have different lists in MailChimp set up. So for example, when let's say when the client signs up to our account, then they would be interested in learning the basics about TrekSoft, so we'll sign them up to a list, a mailing list that's basically a getting started list to kind of gradually walk them through and also highlight the important features that our software has to offer for them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will probably get great use out of this by using filters either in Pipedrive or on the MailChimp side to either segment to a specific list, which you can do, or even send subscribers to a specific group within that list. So there's a lot of really great ways that you can set this up within Zapier to do that. It really just depends on what kind of deal you want to run off of, whether it's an open deal, whether it's a one deal, maybe even a lost deal. You might want to unsubscribe someone to MailChimp. So there's a lot that you can do there with that. Is there anything super unique you think you guys do, either on the MailChimp or the Gmail side?
I think overall just using Gmail gives you a lot of versatility because it comes off, it's a plain text email that's sent, so it's extremely personal and it doesn't have that same marketing kind of feel with an unsubscribe links, things like that. So it does have a lot more of an impact in terms of giving, I guess, overall a better customer experience and more of a customized feel for them.
That's a really great idea. I know that we've got people that do that in a myriad of different ways, even including Google Sheets and stuff like that. So that's really, really great to hear. One thing I forgot to mention in the very beginning, if you guys haven't seen it by now, underneath the video there is a chat room. So if you've got any questions, we've got plenty of people in there to kind of tackle those. I know that we've got a couple Pipedrive folks in there, and I got a couple of my Zapier pals in there. So we should be able to take care of any questions you're having. Thanks for sharing that stuff, guys. Andres, did you have a couple of other things you wanted to touch on?
I mean, I think one thing which Rob and Tom didn't mention, but a helpful step that we at Pipedrive use ourselves is getting data from websites to Pipedrive via Zapier. So a couple of months ago, we were at the place where we needed to add a form to our website for large customers, and then instead of coding the form ourselves, we decided to use Wufoo as our kind of template form for contacting us, and Zapier as a Zap, which lets you get data from Wufoo into Pipedrive really easily. So if you go to the Pipedrive pricing page, you'll see the page live, and it took about I don't know, 20 minutes of work to get it up in this form. So this we found this really useful.
So what Andres is saying here is that they've put this Wufoo form inside their own website to collect leads, essentially. So anyone who fills out this form, they can then be sent right over to Pipedrive to create a brand new deal. So setting that up in Zapier is just essentially, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Wufoo, it can be any sort of form. It can be Typeform, Gravity Forms, anything like that, anything that we support, and you can send that data directly from the form. So we'll have a new entry here. So when the new entry happens, it's going to create the deal in Pipedrive. And once this is set up, really just takes a couple minutes. You need to, select the form that you're pulling that data from, and then you need to just do a couple of things like saying, what's the deal title going to be, what's the status in Pipedrive going to be, what stage do you want that to be in, and then once that's done, I imagine Andres can speak to this, anytime anyone fills out this form of theirs, it is funneled right into the pipeline exactly where they expected it to be, and they don't have to do any work at all, and they can start the sales process from there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really easy to map the data you get from the Wufoo form into specific fields or custom fields in Pipedrive. So it really is a huge time saver for us.
And, this is Rob. One thing I did want to mention, because you did ask kind of a unique way that we use kind of Zapier and Pipedrive. I think one way that is pretty unique is that our business model is we're software as a service. So when customers want to use our software, they sign up for a demo account, but they can actually sign and create their demo account live on our site. So for us, using something like a Wufoo or sign up form is good for a requested demo form, but when we have customers have the ability to actually sign up for a real account, a live account, which is obviously connects to our back end. So what we've done, so we now have customers that are signing up every day to actually use the software and perhaps subscribe, and we get all that data from our own created backend. What we've done is we've taken I believe we did it through the API, right, Tom? With the backend Zapier connection. Yeah, so what we've done is we've connected that through the email notifications. So when we have our own back-end signups, what we're able to do is I can click a button in our back-end, which sends it to Pipedrive through Zapier, where it generates an email, which is then mapped to the proper fields in Pipedrive. So what it'll do is once we have a sign-up, it moves it automatically into the proper stage in Pipedrive, so we call our SQLs or sales qualified leads, and then it will assign it to the proper rep, and it'll set a notification email to say that there's a new deal. So I think that's one thing that we've done that again has been a huge time saver, because prior to that we used to have to port that information over manually. So now we can do that just by a click of a button.
Yeah, and you can really get creative with that. I mean, the concept is the same, right? Any sort of form or way to grab data, even a spreadsheet, and you can automate just with a couple of clicks here in Zapier, you can set that up to send that data directly over to Pipedrive instantly. So yeah, that's any kind of way you can get creative about collecting data. We probably have a solution for that. And Anders, I know a couple of other things you wanted to touch on really quickly were some ways that you could actually use Zapier to move Pipedrive data from one space in Pipedrive to another. Do you want to chat about that?
Yes, one really good piece of software that you can connect to Pipedrive via Zapier is Pipedrive. And there's a couple of really good use cases for that. Let's say, for instance, that you want to trigger a task when a deal reaches a certain which is agreement signed. You want to assign a task to sales assistant to create an invoice based off the agreement. You can now do that via Zapier really easily. Or if a deal is won, you can set a reminder to ask feedback in, let's say, 30 days. Or if a deal is lost, you can set the task automatically to create the task to follow up in 6 months or so.
Yeah. So
alternatively, there's also.
Well, no, go ahead.
And now it's like we made a couple of changes to the Zapier connection on the Pipedrive side yesterday. A couple of improvements. So now it's also easier to create new deals to a separate pipeline if a deal has been won. For instance, many of our customers they use Pipedrive not just for sales, but also for managing follow-ups and delivery. So if a deal is won in sales pipeline, you can then use Zapier to create a new deal using the same data in a new pipeline inside Pipedrive. And again, after like 5 or 10 minutes of setting it up, it's a huge time saver going forward.
Yeah, and that's actually what we're looking at right here. So what you can do is you'll want to select new filter deal here as the trigger, and then create deal as the action. So essentially what you're doing is taking that deal that you have marked as won and pushing it into a different pipeline. So if we then set the filter to any one or all won deals here in step 4, then in step 5 I can match that data up. So that I've got the title of that deal and I'm saying that it's won. And then I'm actually going to push it into a different stage in a different pipeline. so I don't have to do that over again. If you do what Andrews is saying and use this as maybe like a project management tool once the sales process is done, it will do this for you automatically, and you can match up any of this data that you would want to, and in just a matter of moments be done with that. And I think the other thing you wanted to quickly chat about, Andrews, was doing either new deals or new deals in a stage to actually create activity.
Yeah, which I briefly mentioned already. So it's if a deal reaches a certain stage, it's easy to create activities to a particular person inside Pipedrive.
Yeah, and all of these things work virtually the same. It's just a matter of matching up the right data that you want to send to the right spot, and you can do any of this internal Pipedrive moving with a couple of zaps very, very easily. Anything else you want to chat about today, Andrews, or any questions that from the chat room we should tackle?
Maybe just one thing to add before we tackle the chat room questions. That we made, like I mentioned, we made a couple of improvements to the kind of Pipedrive end of the Zapier connection yesterday. So now, if there's a new event triggered inside the Pipedrive that triggers a zap, almost everything relating to that deal in terms of deal information, company information, and person information is now included in the trigger. So now it's easier than ever to set up new trigger events elsewhere based on the Pipedrive trigger.
Yeah, there's so many options there.
Yeah, so basically any and everything in Pipedrive, including all the custom fields, can now be carried with the trigger to whatever software they need to be carried to.
That's a lot of customization you can do.
Should we?
Yeah, are there any questions we should tackle real quickly with the last couple of minutes we got here? I don't know if James has noticed anything in the chat room or not that we should talk about, or if anyone else has. But I'm happy to tackle any of those questions that people are having.
Yeah, chat doesn't seem to have anything as of yet.
Nope. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Well, we can actually mention that if you missed us today, or if you have questions that you think about later, this is how you can get in touch with us. So this is actually my personal information. You can email me anytime, message me on Twitter, or you can shoot us all a message. contact@zapier.com comes to everyone at the company, and we'd be more than happy to answer the questions you're having, help you maybe sort through a workflow, anything like that. Anything else you might want to add, Andrews, before we sign off here?
No, I think we've covered the main things. Thank you everybody for joining, and likewise, you can always contact Pipedrive support, either James or one of our colleagues, via support@pipedrive.com if you have any questions or clarifications. Yeah,
and if and we can always loop we can always loop the teams together too. So if we've got an issue that we need to solve together, we're more than happy to do that. So.
Yeah, and I think we're both also quite responsive on Twitter. So that's also we can even do a contest on who gets to respond first if you mention both Zapier and Pipedrive on Twitter. We'll try to beat Zapier guys to answer you.
You guys might win. You probably have a little more global coverage than we do, but we're doing our best there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and to Rob and Tom for sharing their really, really cool use cases with us.
Yeah.
And thanks to Andrews for being such a great partner.
Yeah, and thank you, Alison. I think there's a question now in the chat.
Sure. Yeah, we'll cover it.
If a customer shipping address in an email, can that be imported into Pipedrive from an email in an automated way?
Yes. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, you want to go, and correct me if I'm wrong, and just you want to go email to maybe create new deal?
Yes.
Okay.
So it will need some configuration. So there's no quick answer unless James, you want to comment for that. That I can just quickly cover, but using some workarounds, this might be possible. But so contact us via support@pipedrive.com or Twitter, and then let's take it there.
Also, we're currently using the Zapier email parser.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have several different email options within Zapier, so you could, let's see what happens when I pull up email here. Well, Gmail obviously is a trigger. We also have IMAP and SMTP options. We have a parser option. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about taking emails and creating new deals with them. Anything from just grabbing the sender's name and the body of the email, or you could use the email parser and pull out, extract pieces of data that you would want. But it's fairly straightforward and should be pretty easy to do.
Awesome.
Does that cover it?
I think so.
Okay, great. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today, and to Anderson, everyone at Pipedrive. And again, if you need anything at all, contact at Zapier.com. Are you guys support at Pipedrive.com?
Yes.
Okay. And maybe we'll have a little support contest, good nature support contest. See who's quicker. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Again, if you need anything, just let us know, and we'd be happy to take care of things.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, Allison.
Bye.
Thanks, Andrews.
Bye-bye.
Take care.